Rolling. How's it? It's Raymond here. Long-term review on the Specialized Epic 8 Evo. Get that right, Evo. This is a down country bike, 130mm shock in front, 120 at the back. So general feel of this bike, it's a lot slacker than the old Evo. Specialized always puts Evo when it's more progressive, and this is definitely it. This is pretty much a full house, what you need to do down country riding. You've got your Axis EXO, you've got the beefy fork up front, beautiful rear suspension, Kashima dropper post. Yeah, so riding this bike, I found I've been getting PBs on trails I've ridden 80-90 times. So yeah, the proof is in the numbers. And couple things I would change, maybe a volume spacer in the back shock. I'm running through all that travel because I'm going faster, and that's at the recommended pressures. And I'll change the grips. Otherwise, I'm enjoying this bike, and it's a pretty sick color. New SWAT box in the down tube. I've got my jacket in there now, so if the rain does roll through, we prepared for that, and spares, CO2 canisters. Yeah, I'm still keeping my snacks in my little fanny pack, but yeah, I suppose you could put some Hariboos inside the down tube. Yeah, here's me riding it. Oh, that's loose. Yeah. The ride of this bike is pretty insane. Not saying that just because it's a new bike and you know how it is. It feels a lot more less bob. So meaning when I'm pedaling, it's not bobbing up and down at the recommended pressures. You can make any bike rigid. You just up the pressure on the rear shock, up the pressure on the front shock, but you're going to compromise with your downhill speed with that, which is, these bikes are designed to go fast up and down at the recommended pressures. So yeah, so I went, the only thing with the rear shock, I sag at the back, I went with 11mm. On the trail, I've kind of worked it out that is my sweet spot for the trail tuned Fox suspension, which normally runs a bit softer than a standard XC Fox rear shock. But the downhill's where it really comes alive. Yes, I hit a big hole here yesterday. Full compression on this 34. Yes. So I thought these purgatory tires would be too much on this bike when I first picked it up. Whoa! And yeah, really enough tire. Kudos to the product team beefing the front up with this fork, because I'm really enjoying this. Floating over these rocks. Big hole. What? Bigger hole. What? The trails are rough at the moment. So sick. Going to the drivetrain, you've got an EXO crank, beautiful machine SRAM look. You've got the EXO cassette and rear derailleur with a flat top chain. I can't fault this. Some people say the new T-type transmission is a bit slow. It might be a fraction slower to the old SRAM Eagle Axis, but it is super precise. And under torque, you shift. It will wait for the I don't know what the guys call it in the technical terms, but it'll shift when there's torque under that chain. And yeah, I don't have to worry about a chain brake. Do the brakes. Whew, this is trail bike heaven, these brakes. These are new code brakes. You can see they're pretty beefy up front and at the back. On these new SRAM rotors, no issues there. Incredible stopping power. Versus the old codes that you used to get. The crankset is pretty beautiful. It's the EXO. Go around to the front. Another small thing I would change on this bike is the chainring size. I do normally run a 36 and this is only a 32. The riding here in South Africa, at least in Stellenbosch, you've got to ride probably 10 k's to get to the trail. It's normally flat, so having a bigger chain blade up front would be beneficial to that. And by doing that, I should be able to use more of my cassette, because I do find I'm using the lower end of the cassette now. Let's get the focus on there. Yeah, so I've done pretty much a month on this bike. It's not clean, sorry about that. So funny enough, the geometry of these Epics, it comes out, the Evo comes out in the low setting, and the Epic 8, the standard Epic 8 comes in the high setting as a factory standard. That is in the manual. So if you're looking for a bike, especially in South Africa where you want to ride with your friends on the weekends, you want to enjoy your bike, you don't want to be pinged around like on a super stiff XC bike, this is the bike for you. And if you want to race that stage race, Tankwa Trek I'm planning to race in January next year, 2025. I will put fast tracks on it. There is a lock regarding fast tracks racing setup on this bike. You can't lock the front suspension out. So sorry, this review is jumping around a bit. I'm just talking off the cuff here as I'm thinking about my bike. I will run a fast track front back and run the pressures a little bit higher in the suspension possibly. But yeah, all in all, great weekender bike, great race bike. And yeah, if you're really serious about your numbers, put a power meter on this guy. But yeah, I'm loving this bike. It is amazing.